Welcome back from that very detour. It is still the healthy morning right here on Hstv with me, Savar Aiden, and also yours truly, James Riafi Kwesi. We bring to you all that you need to know, as you always say, is all that you need to hear and see. Now, today, as you already know, we're streaming live on our YouTube platform at Hstv Live GH. Do well to like, comment, and share. Whatever we say here is recorded live. You can send to your friends, send to your loved one, anyone that is on his way or on her way to work. Make sure that the person is tuned into Hstv morning show, healthy morning, right here. So right about now, we are moving on to the Marches Arising segment. What is trending in our country right now, and also what is on the front pages of our Ghanaian newspapers. You're talking about the Daily Graphic, the Graphic Showbiz, and all of that. So let's move straight to our very first newspaper for this morning.
So we're going to start off with the Punch Africa with the quote saying truth stands. So the story popping up here says CPJ thefts at EC. NDC blasts EC over missing BVDs, BVRs and laptops. And now here says the National Democratic Congress has urged the Electoral Commission to swiftly organize an emergency inter-party advisory committee meeting to address concerns over the reported disappearance of biometric verification devices and the other related issues. The party emphasized that such a meeting is necessary for the EC to provide explanations and reassurance to political parties and their supporters. In a petition submitted to the Commission on Wednesday, the NDC expressed apprehension over these issues, fearing that they could potentially undermine the fairness and integrity of the upcoming December 2024 election. The petition, signed by the party's General Secretary Fifi Fiavi urged the EC to give due consideration to the concerns to remain public trust in its operation. So leadership, members and sympathizers of the NDC are worried about the situation and believe that these unfortunate incidents pose a serious threat to free, fair and transparent elections on the upcoming 2024 general election. So hearing from the camp of the NDC saying that investigations should be done in line with the missing BVDs and BVR's laptop. So on top again it says 2023 STEM Innovation winner visits Japan. You can read our story on page 10. And down here it says NDC to unveil running mate next week. You can see that story on page 10 of the Punch Africa. And down here, the other story trending, it says ex-Maslock CEO jailed 10 years in absentia. You can read that story on page 9. Last week's story said Mahama grabs African Advancement Award. And lastly, Cantonment Land court issues arrest warrant for Chinese iron woman and other one.
Okay, so we're moving on to the Metro Lunch newspaper for today, the 18th of April 2024, and it says, written boldly, I will prioritize citizens' welfare over political interest. So this is coming from Alan Kojo as after the inauguration ceremony that happened at UPSA yesterday for the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, that is ARC. It was noted that Alan Tremantin will be or has been announced as the presidential candidate for the Alliance for Change. So he's saying that he will prioritize citizens' welfare over political interest ahead of the December polls. Yeah, so you can find the story on page 4 of the Metro Lens newspaper. And also beneath that story, we have the Fiamekbo multimedia in trouble. Dr. Kingsley Ajeman sues for 20 million Ghana cedis. So in a report that I cited on the Modern Ghana, says that Dr. Kingsley Ajeman, the registrar of the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, has filed a defamation lawsuit against Member of Parliament for Saudi Roxanne Nelson de Fiamekbo and Media Group Multimedia over comments made on one of its stations. In documents filed at the High Court in Accra on April 17th, Dr. Ajeman is seeking 20 million Ghana cedis in damages from the NP and Multimedia. He argues that comments made by the Fiamekbo on Joy FM's news file program on April 13, 2024, in which the MP alleged he travels abroad weekly using first-class tickets, which are meant to for students, in the eyes of right-thinking members of the society as a wasteful person. Now, according to the Fiamekbo, allegedly, Ajeman spent state funds on expensive travels, which the Secretariat board says was sordid information. So, as it stands now, Dr. Kingsley is definitely charging multimedia 20 million Ghana cedis. This is very sad. And I don't know how this very issue would, be handled, but we actually hope that this will not actually escalate and then become a very crucial issue. So you can read this story on page 4 of the Metro Lens newspaper. And finally, on the front page, on the front page of the Metro Lens newspaper, says Baumia advocates for greater support for women leadership roles. Baumia advocates for greater support for women in leadership roles. So this story you can also read on page 7 of the Metro Lens newspaper.
All right, so let's move away from the Metro Lens and go straight to the Daily Post. And right here says, you will account for your deeds. Mahama warns Akufo-Addo's officials. And down here says, Honorable Jocelyn Tete donates 100 bags of cement to Vakpo Senior High School. And still with the story trend, it said court remands man for robbing former second lady. So let's go into that story. So a man accused of robbing high-income personalities, including Matilda Emisatha, the wife of late Vice President Kwesi Emisatha and mother-in-law of renowned architect David Ajayi, has been arraigned and charged with 26 counts of robbery and money laundering. The accused, Hausa Osman, is accused of carrying out loan such as Cantonment, Airport Residential Area and Tesano. The robberies, according to the police investigation, took place between September and December 2023. He is alleged to have unlawfully gained access to homes of his victims and demanded money and valuables at gunpoint. In some instances, he is accused of physical assaulting his victims. Per the brief fact of the case, he attacked the former second lady at her home in Tesano on December 5, 2023. He is said to have threatened to kill Madame Matilda Yaba Emisatha with a gun if she did not yield to his demand. He then assaulted the former second lady by strangling her and hitting her head repeatedly on the ground. He is said to have made away with $3,000 and $2,200 and 50 euro in cash, as well as gold watch worth 20,000, necklace valued 5,000. A week after this, on December 11, Osman paid a similar visit to the home of the mother-in-law of David Ajele. His modus operandi was not any different, as he pointed a gun at Madame Margaret Alishon and demanded goodies. He succeeded in taking the Rolex watch valued $70 and a Panera watch valued $15, jewelry valued $15 and a cash amount of $1,500. Before these two high-profile operations, the accused had made similar robbery operations on September 17th and December 14th. On September 17th, businesswoman Augustino Kiriki was attacked at gunpoint in his home at the airport residential area. The alleged robber is said to have stolen 2 Rolex watch and a sum of £3,500. And again on December 4th, he robbed 2 persons named Kwame Osafo and Tracy Osei. He stole a wristwatch with a value of $9,000, an iPhone Pro Max value at $1,000. And down here again, it says he then stole jewelry value at $50,000. So the accused has been charged with the count of money laundering, as he is accused of using the funds stolen to acquire houses and a car. This is a sad story. So earlier in the intro, I was asking, why don't this second lady have a security guard or people protecting them? Because I know when they are in power, every time they have these people who protect their homes. Even they have this dispatch drivers that takes them around. So unfortunately, if she's been attacked again for the second time, I ask, is security not, or let me say, security personnel not playing their role well? I think this thing should be checked, and he should be brought down before court. Yeah,
exactly. All right, so I think we are moving on to the very next newspaper, and this is the Supreme newspaper for today. It says bloodbath looms at Bediako community as Supremo wood workers threaten phase off with concession and coaches. So this story you can read on page 3 of the Supreme newspaper. We also have 10 children rescued from human trafficking, and this story has been trending for a while. So apparently 10 children has been rescued, so we are hoping that others that are victim to this human trafficking would also be rescued by some authorities of this very state. So beneath the story we have Joaboso MPP communication team expresses gratitude to government for new cocoa prize. And also we have Pram 3 Royal Gate petition Chief Justice. And beside the story we have Alan joins force with 7 political parties to sweep victory in election 2024. Also we have from doomsorization to digitalization, a poet's reflection. So this story I think is the last on the front page of the Supreme newspaper today.
Okay, so away from that, let's go straight into the business analysts. They're saying shaping economic decision. Now, as part of the 75th anniversary, it says uphold values that define your noble profession. Sam Jonah tells media. So right here it says the Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Sir Sam Jonah, has called on Ghanaian journalists to actively safeguard the country's democracy by not shying away from addressing critical issues affecting its governance system. So Sir Sam Jonah emphasized that media professionals in Ghana should serve as paragons of objectivity, promoters of informed discourse, and unwavering champions of freedom and truth. So speaking at the launch of the 75th anniversary celebration of the Ghana Journalists Association in Accra on Wednesday, April 17, 2024, Sam Jonah expressed concern about troubling trends in the national dialogue, urging and renewed commitment to the principles championed by Ephraim Amu, especially in the current era where democratic values and social cohesion face significant test. Furthermore, he encouraged media practitioners to utilize their platform to address pressing issues such as the perceived politicization of the state agencies against dissenters, and also on press freedom, public skepticism regarding the impartiality of the judiciary, and the concerning lack of accountability in public finance management. In this era where the essence of our democracy and the fabric of our society are tested, let us recommit ourselves to the principles that Ephraim Amu so eloquently exposed. So this is a message coming in from the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Sir Sam Jonah, saying that journalists should safeguard the country's democracy by not shying away from addressing critical issues. So moving away from that story again, it says Akufo-Addo appoint new controller and accounts general. And down here it says GJ launches 75th anniversary. GJ president celebrates pioneers and outstanding journalists. On the other side it says harnessing talent for inclusive development. Bawumia calls for more focus on women empowerment. And lastly, it says former Maslok CEO to be extradited. Deputy Attorney General discloses.
Okay, so we are moving on to the Anchor newspaper. It says revealing the truth, and also we are taking the first news on the front page of the Anchor newspaper. It says allow private sector participation in VRA, ECG Gridco orders. Otumfor advocate says diversification is the way to go. I think we also have Comatose, that is PNC splits, top executives break away to form new party. We also have robbery suspect who strangled former second lady Charles and caged after looting $61,000 worth of Rolex watches, jewelry, $50,000 from other victims. And also I think we have 42 million trees planted in 3 years under Green Ghana initiative. So the story you can read newspaper.
Okay, so away from the anchor, let's move into the new crusading guide. And right here it says, Alan fights for ACL. Again, it says Supremo Wood workers are threatening face off with concession and crutches. And on top it says, Draboso MPP community team commends government over new cocoa prices. You can find us on page 10 of the new crusading guide. And a message coming in from Bamia says, focus on women empowerment for inclusive development. And down it says, Sam Jonah challenges journalists to uphold truth, independence and accountability. And on to the other side, it says KGL thriving on good corporate relationships. This coming in from Alex Apal Dade. And lastly, it says leverage trade to achieve development in Africa's agri sector. Coming in from Dr. Edwin Kessie.
Okay, so we're moving on to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Says Asante Hene commends Energy Minister on takeoff of Janse Kumasi pipeline project. Also, we have Kwesi Pratt comments Akufo-Addo. You can read the story or find the story on page 2 of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. We also have RTD Kofi Boache reveals Asante Hene's crucial role in EC's release of 2016 election results. And I think beside that very story, we have Samankra's take on NPP government's gold for oil policy. So these are all the stories on the front page of the Daily Dispatch newspaper.
Okay, now let's move into the Chronicle. And the banner headline states, red flag Supremo Timbers workers send SOS to government to protect concessions. And on top it says, Alan to contest president election on ARC ticket. And on top it says, government issues request for proposal for Sanglima Housing Unit. And down here it says, CBG does not owe government of Ghana. Management of CBG, the voice out saying they do not owe the government of Ghana.
Okay. So we are moving on to the Daily Guide newspaper. Says Tamale delegation visits minister to straighten ties. Okay, I think we also have Nana appoints new accountant general. The story is also on the page 6 of the Daily Guide newspaper. We also have 4 caged over missing electoral commission equipment. So this story has been trending for a while now, and the National Democratic Congress is actually calling on the EC boss that whatever that it is, make sure that investigations are put in place to retrieve this missing equipment that the Electoral Commission are saying that they cannot find. Yes, so
it puts I think it makes the whole thing very shaky, where people start to have cold feet towards the elections coming, because they foresee that things can be manipulated. I believe from us as the EC, you should be trustworthy. People should find truth in line with this whole thing, and I hope investigations are going to be done if they could find where all these things have passed, or because if we're talking about the EC, they are the main people who are taking care of elections right here in Ghana, and already they brought out campaigns saying that this time around everything is going to be in place, and unfortunately within these sub elections we're already experiencing these things. So let's hope we're praying it's not propaganda from the other party trying to create this whole scenario, but we pray things are resolved so that we have a peace and sound election.
Yeah, but even with that, I think talking about manipulation of the election, they actually came out, the Electoral Commission came out that this has never happened before. So definitely they are also working behind the scenes to make sure they retrieve this very equipment or devices that are missing. And apparently I think laptops and other biometric verification devices are among the things that were stolen. And apparently they are also saying that even though they had cameras all around, they could just not identify. But right now it says that 4 caged over missing EC equipment. So I'm sure that before election in 2024 December 7th, we will have a stable and calm situation about this very
whole thing.
This whole thing. So I think we have 2 other stories on the front page. It says let's support women. So this is coming from Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, who is also the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. And lastly, we have man remanded for robbing ex-second lady. Okay,
so moving away from that paper, let's go straight into the Daily Graphic. And right here says GJA 75th anniversary launch. A journalist must be fearless. Coming in from Sir Sam Jonah, he is the Vice Chancellor for UCC. And down here it says, Ministry invites a proposal for Saglema Housing Project. And lastly, our former first representative, government in nation's history, coming in from Alan Tremanting.
Okay, sure. So I think we're moving on to the last newspaper today, if I'm correct. So this is from Graphic Showbiz. Says that don't abandon career because of marriage. Don't abandon career because of marriage. So this is coming from Ohima Weyeje, as she advises women not to, stop whatever they are doing because they are married to this individual. And I think, well, she was actually celebrating her marriage recently, and this very issue came across, and she's saying that, you know what, so far as you're working in a very renowned institution whatsoever, make sure that you put your career on the same path or scale with your marriage. So I don't know what you think about that. I don't know what you think about it.
I think, how do I even put the whole thing? Most women, I don't think it's only women, men too sometimes find themselves in such a situation. As soon as a woman gives birth, her whole life changes, and if you're not strong enough, you wouldn't be able to bounce back to be the kind of woman you were at first. So coming in from a professional, a journalist, I would say, someone who finds himself in the media space, saying that you should be able to move back into your profession regardless of you getting married and all that. Some people are trapped or encaged when they are married, and they don't find themselves again. So if you're a young girl moving or looking forward to get married, just have it at the back of your mind that you have something to do, you have a profession to keep, you have a passion you've always loved, something you've always wanted to do. So regardless of the situation, regardless of you being married and married, I know it's very difficult because you need to take care of the kids, you need to sort home, ensure that home is a very good place for family anytime they return back. So don't just
but
fall
do you
off.
think that is the decision of the women, or sometimes it could be the decision of the men? Because we are always told that the men are the heads of the family. So
some men do not like to stress their women, and they want to take care of home. As soon as we are married, hey, this is what you're doing. And if the man is supporting financially well, ensuring that the home is okay, everything is needed at home, I don't think the woman would stress herself, trying to work and all that. But you need to get active because it really affects them. I've seen lots of women who, after getting married, giving birth, a lot of things change. They are no more like they used to be. They throw away their passion. But remember, the kids are going to grow.
Definitely.
They're also going to find their feet. What would you be doing? That's where boredom sets in, and you just lose yourself. The passion, everything is gone. But let's still follow our dreams regardless of you getting married, you having kids.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're moving on to the last story on the front page of Graphic Showbiz. Says, I must win Artist of the Year again. So this is coming from Ochame Kwame, as he's saying that this year Telecel Ghana Music Awards, he must win Artist of the Year. I don't know about that, but I am sure the award scheme is actually open. Nominations are also open, so definitely if you want your favorite artist to win your preferred category, make sure that you go in there. It's on social media. Make sure that you go in there and also you vote for your artist to win your preferred category. So I think this is all we bring to you on the Matters Arising segment. We spoke and touched on a lot of stories trending on our front pages and also in our society, Ghana, right about now. So let's go for a very quick turn. When we come back, Precious Azuma is up next with Sports in Minutes. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.